Hey guys, today we're working on a Crusader 8.1 Captain's Choice. They're having an issue where they said the engine's running really rough. They're not making the RPM they should be. So we're going to take a look here, kind of just do a general overview on which Crusader it is. Crusader made a lot of different 8.1s. So they actually have two different 8.1 engines in here, one made partially by Volvo, and this one with the MEFI 4 is actually fully made by them. Here I'm checking the regulator to see if I just see any fuel coming out. That's a super common issue with these 8.1s. If you haven't already, if you can please like the video and share and subscribe if this helped you out. We're going to be taking a look at what goes on with these when they have a run rough condition. This engine did have a new long block, so the block is most likely good. We're going to check it here in a bit. But you'll kind of see where we go from. The captain's kind of here. He speaks with us about what's going on here. Okay. Oh yeah, it's running rough. It is like a full-on dead hole here. Let's take a look. I heard that one. Let's see. What
did you think?
It's got a full-on dead hole somewhere. So
it does sound weird, right?
It doesn't sound right. It's not a fuel pressure regulator.
The one thing I noticed when I ran it,
Yeah.
the numbers were way off for the whole boat, meaning like usually at 3,000 RPM we're doing 25 knots.
Okay.
And we were doing 21.
Really?
So we were down by 4 knots an hour.
Yeah, so
And you can feel this little like whoa.
yes,
When
it's
you're up and going too.
it's
like it's missing or
yeah, so I'm gonna actually, it sounds like compression is at least good though, so I don't think it's like the engine is hurt.
From 0, the front loader is heading in that direction. I think they're gonna get it, but if they don't, can you advise?
Man, I wish I could turn that off.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Let's do it for
What I'm thinking, because this is an older one, it's batch fire. I'm thinking it might be a dead spark plug. I don't know if they just recently did a service or something like that and what plugs they used, but these 496s in general, just 496s, they use individual coils, and this engine really doesn't have that problem. The Crusader versus Mercury has this problem worse because the Mercs actually run way better, but they individually timed these ignition coils, and so it would kill a spark plug when it was really advanced. It would just blow the spark out and blow the plug up, and it wouldn't hurt the motor or anything. The plug just wouldn't fire. So I'm wondering if we're having a plug that's not firing or something like that. I'll take a look around, I'll see what I can see, and I think we're going to find a dead hole somewhere in one cylinder bank. So either 1 or 2, but I don't think more than that.
Okay.
Yeah?
I wonder if we should, I mean, I guess, from what I know, the other engine was running good, but
We should probably listen to it and make sure. That sounds good. That one's fine. Yeah. That one you can hear it. So in this part of my diagnosis, I pretty much go over a cylinder drop test and kind of taking a look around here. We're going to do it with the ignition coils. We're actually going to unplug each coil. And we found that the number 5 cylinder was contributing. You could hear a definite change in the cylinder. And then when you get to cylinder number 7, which we'll do here in a second, we found that there was really no change, which we'll let you hear. I didn't hear any change.
Yeah, I did it.
Okay, let me go through the other ones and see. So now we're going to go through a cylinder drop test on the rest of the cylinders. We found that number 2, 4, and 6 were contributing decently. They seem to be contributing a little off to each other, but I'm not too concerned about that as long as they're all contributing. As far as number 8, when we unplugged number 8, there was no change at all. Again, just like number 7. Now, I kind of wasn't concerned about number 8 yet. I had to figure out what was wrong with number 7. But it did seem a little odd to me that both the rearmost cylinders were not contributing. Get this in here. Not even hot. So the plug isn't hot. It looks wet as hell. Let's take a look at another plug. Yeah, so here's our problem. The plug is dry, super wet. It's not firing. So the plug is busted. Okay, so I kind of went off my theory that a plug was broken. Now, plugs are cheap and easy to replace, and since they had just done a service, I thought maybe they dropped in the bills right before they got it. So we got another one of a 41-983. It's a platinum plug. I know it says AC Delco, but it's actually made by NGK, so there's an NGK equivalent to the 41983. Here I'm just reinstalling the number 5 plug and then the number 7 plug. Now, later on I'll learn that yes, the plug on number 7 was damaged, but it was damaged because of a reason. Sometimes these plugs go out, sometimes there's actually a cause, and this one actually did have a cause, which we will see later on. Plug wires on. So, now we have to look at other items, because the spark plug, even with a brand new spark plug, it still is loping. So with the new spark plug, we shouldn't have had a lope. So now we're going to be checking fuel pressure on this thing. We're just going to go through basic checks. Now on this Crusader, the fuel pressure regulator's at 300 kPa, which is a 3-bar system, or 43 psi. That is a plus or minus 2 specification, with it being, depending on your inches of vacuum, 43 minus whatever your inches of vacuum are. Now, if you have inches of mercury, which is out of 30, you got to divide that by 2, and that's what you minus. So at idle, these things usually run around 37 psi. So that's what we're going to try to see here. So we're going to start this thing up and see what our pressure is. And we'll kind of go from there. If the pressure is correct, then we've got to start looking at maybe a possible bad injector or low compression on a cylinder. Though when you crank it up, usually when there's a bad cylinder, the starter skips a beat. So we'll take a look. So now we're going to get into testing the injectors. We verified that our fuel pressure was correct. It was at 43. We also tested compression. That's the other gauge you see there. We tested both cylinder number 7 and cylinder number 5, both of which came back with about 160 psi of compression. So they're equal. And number 5 was firing and number 7 was not. Here we're going to do a little pin out of what power and ground is from the ECM, which on this ECM, So we're going to replug this injector back in, and we are going to use our multimeter to figure out which way the polarity is. Once we do that, we will feed the injector with 12 volt power to see how much fuel that injector will flow. So we'll try from like a cylinder that works like number 5 and then try cylinder number 7 to make sure that we see a large difference in fuel volume. So we'll kind of take our pins here, which on the injector side, each pin is individual, or the powers are shared and the grounds are switched, are all different. Where on the Crusader side, it's 2 banks, so it's powers, 2 powers and 2 grounds. So what we're doing here is we're going to see if this injector even fires. So I'm going to give it power off of here, and then we should be able to Okay, so it drops a little bit. Let's see if we can do another one. Let's key off and key back on so we're at the same. Let me. That one seems to go down way quicker. Okay, so we've kind of gone through this engine and taken a look at what's going on. And we took a look at this number 7 injector and noticed that it was super lean. The spark plug didn't have anything on it. And when I clicked the injector all the way open, it would barely let any fuel out. When I clicked another injector, it would just pour out. So we're going to have to remove these injectors and then get them sent off and get them cleaned out, and we'll come back as soon as we get them cleaned out. Okay, so here we got our injectors disconnected. We've got all our ports sealed off with some kind of towel so that they don't get anything in them. We've got a bag wrapped around with a rag in it so that if anything comes out of the lines, that'll be put into the bag. The engine is going to get disabled right now so that nobody can start it. And then once it's disabled by disconnecting this, we will then go get these injectors done.